and selectively redacting it. He also intervened in the sentence of former Trump advisor Michael Flynn, ordering the Department of Justice to drop the case. Critics said Barr was overtly political in his defense of the president. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
Barr will leave office December 23rd. California's electors cementing the victory for President-elect Joe Biden a short time ago as the Electoral College meets today.
We have 6 votes for Joseph R. Biden for president and 6 votes for Kamala D. Harris for vice president.
That man in Nevada, President Trump has vowed to continue to fight the outcome despite a number of losses in court. President-elect Joe Biden is expected to speak later this evening. In remarks released this afternoon, Biden is expected to say, in part, in this battle for the soul of America, democracy prevailed. We, the people, voted. Faith in our institutions held. The integrity of our elections remains intact. And so now it is time to turn the page, to unite, to heal. The first shots of the Pfizer vaccine for COVID-19 are being given to frontline workers around the U.S. as deaths from the virus top 300,000. Another vaccine from Moderna is expected to get federal approval this week. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says in his state the most at risk will get the COVID-19 vaccine first.
We really are going to start focusing on the most at-risk folks in the general population, our seniors, our elderly, folks that have really serious, usually 2 or more comorbidities.
The Pfizer vaccine is in the process of being distributed. The FDA expected to approve the Moderna vaccine this week. One tech company will allow its employees to work from home for a bit longer.
Google is allowing its employees to work from home until September of next year. It's also testing the idea of a flexible work week. The plan would have Google workers in the office at least 3 days a week while working remotely the other days. The New York Times says Google's staff was informed in an email from CEO Sundar Pichai. Google was one of the first companies to ask its employees to work from home because of the pandemic. It was previously planning to have workers come back to the office in July. Both Facebook and Twitter have said they plan.
Anyone can publish on the internet, but not everyone is publishing material suited for online reading. According to the Yahoo Style Guide, it cautions that internet content has a few seconds, 3 or less, to encourage people to read more, to take action, or navigate to another one of your pages. So make it easy for readers to pick and choose. Isn't that the way you poke around online? Use short words, short sentences, short paragraphs, bulleted lists, and short pages. Front load what you write, putting the most important information at the beginning of headlines and paragraphs and sentences. Same goes for your keywords, what someone would likely type into the search box on Yahoo or Google. For more tips on communicating better online or in a job interview or everyday life, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
And in a surprise announcement this morning, U.S. Deputy Surgeon General Greg Paulson stated that, quote, "It's fine to smoke cigarettes if you only smoke while drinking." The Deputy Surgeon General has called a press conference to discuss the shocking findings, which began just moments ago. Let's go live to that now.
Was there a particular study this report was based on?
Look, that determination was made after considering that someone who only smokes when at bars or parties ends up smoking maybe 15 cigarettes a month, while regular smokers are smoking 150 to 200 cigarettes each week. So we feel that it's just obvious that as long as you don't actually buy the cigarettes and you only smoke them while consuming the alcohol, then the risks of getting lung cancer are basically mostly negligible. Just common sense.
This announcement comes on the heels of the Surgeon General's last announcement that drinking and driving is fine if you ate a lot that day or if it's a route you take all the time sober. Moving on, the Japanese Space Agency has announced plans to put a schoolgirl on the moon by 2015.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. It is the Monday night edition. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. In the studio tonight, it is myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
And it's Ian.
And we have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. But, I've sort of been focusing recently when I'm, in this driver's seat on acts of defiance and how I believe that now is the time for not only individuals but businesses as well to begin defying all these ridiculous government mandates.
Well, actually, the time to begin defying them was probably before we were born. But given that they haven't bothered to defy them until now is a good time.
Now is as good a time as any, because if you don't start now, it's probably going to be too late at some point for you to begin. Your businesses will have been lost. Your incomes will have been drained. You will be reliant upon the government in an unprecedented fashion, in my opinion, if things go the way they continue to do so. And so I've chosen to highlight some folks who, maybe not in the complete way that we would like. I have certain opinions about how a person should be defiant or a business, that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And like some of these don't quite live up to like my own, like, well, you should do this or you should do that. But whatever. It's slim pickings. It's triage time.
We'll take what we can get.
Let's at least celebrate those who, have the balls to stand up and say, no more. No more.
All right. So, who's first?
First up, we have from KARE 11 News, KARE11.com, more than 100 Minnesota business owners plan to reopen despite Governor Walz's orders.
Excellent.
This is a consortium of businesses. It says, people are desperate and they are coming up with a solution now. They're stuck in a tight corner with no other place to turn. And so we could talk about that. We also have from King 5 News out of Chehalis, Washington. Washington State threatens criminal charges against this Chehalis restaurant owner for defying the indoor dining ban. We covered this. This is Spiffy's restaurant. And so they're
Is this the one you used to go to?
No. It's out in Chehalis, so it's not really in Seattle. It's in the
I never heard of it.
Rural area of Western Washington. There's been a couple of restaurants. One was in like Port Orchard, and that kind of a thing. So this is outside of the Seattle proper area. But we had mentioned Spiffy's as in a previous program as one of the restaurants that were, acting defiantly. Well, now Washington has threatened criminal charges. Criminal.
That's what it comes down to.
For, opening their restaurants.
Well, they can't just let you open up. I mean, if they've been saying that you shan't open and you actually do open, then they have to make a move. I mean, if they don't, then other people might get it into their heads that they can actually live like free people. So they're going to have to go ahead and try to crack down on this individual, which is why gathering together, that first story you were talking about, sounds particularly interesting when business owners are actually coming together. There's another one that somebody posted about an Alaskan group doing the same thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Allegedly at least 100 businesses. So if you want to talk about that, we can do that too.
Absolutely. I also have this from sfgate.com. Danville restaurant owners defy shelter-in-place order by continuing outdoor dining.
Okay.
So they're, they've already been limited. You can't have people indoors. And then they said, well, you can have people outdoors. And now they've said, no, you can't even do that. And they're saying, well, yes, we can, and we're going to continue doing so. So
it's something. Yeah.
It's something.
Half credit. Give you half credit for that one.
I will.
Yeah,
absolutely. They get half credit for that. So, and of course, your calls and your thoughts. We have other stuff to talk about as well. This from Bitcoin.com, courtesy, I think it was Jamie Redmond that was the author.
He does a lot of stories there.
Yeah, at least I found out about it through him. Pornhub. The by far the largest adult website on planet Earth. Their premium services now default to cryptocurrency payments.
That's because they, as I understand it, are losing Visa and MasterCard services.
So they've just said, well, okay, we have this other option. And apparently they're accepting over 13 digital assets.
Not bad. As I understand it, because I saw a headline recently about how they had started accepting Bitcoin, and I was actually surprised that they hadn't done that sooner. I think that was just a few months ago.
I've been surprised, and I've said it here on air a number of times, particularly well over a year ago now, that the thing that made the internet go, like the internet itself was sort of on shaky ground for a period of time as to, well, okay, it's nice to be able to send texts to each other and that kind of stuff and bulletin boards and that kind of thing. But, and the thing that drove, the one business that drove the internet to become the behemoth that it is was pornography. As soon as pornography was available.
It also drove VHS to be the winner of the VHS versus Beta.
Really?
As I understand it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I did get to see both VHS and Beta as a kid growing up. And
did you get to see Beta, porn on Beta?
No.
Okay.
No. But just, the mechanics of it all and the size of the cartridges, the tapes themselves, and the top load and the front load. And there was some, hubbub about that. One of my neighbors in a house that I lived in had the Beta, and another one across the street had the VHS. The house I lived in, we didn't have anything. We were poor. Yeah. So I had to go over to one of their two houses to watch cool movies and stuff. So, yeah, that was that. But
I remember when they had them both at the video store.
I've been saying for a long, long time that as soon as the porn industry adopts cryptocurrency largely, that will be the cryptocurrency.
That'll be the big day, huh?
The big day, or the hurdling, the catapulting, if you will. Trying to think of a good word.
Of course, it won't all happen on one day.
No, it won't. But we'll probably look back at this day and go, "Oh yeah, I remember we covered that on the show that night, and that was the day."
Right. Because as you pointed out, this is a major website. It's in the top 10, is it not? If not the top 5.
I believe it is the largest adult website.
No, I mean of all
Earth.
websites. I believe it is in the top 3 or 5 or something like that. I'll see if I can.
Yeah,
I
don't know where it ranks amongst all websites, but it certainly is the most well-known, I would gander, at least in the United States of America. So we can talk about that as well. In fact, we're talking about it right now. We might as well just continue on with it. So this from Bitcoin.com. Pornhub's premium services now default to crypto payments, 13 digital assets supported. During the first week of September, the world's largest adult web portal, Pornhub, expanded its payment options by adding Bitcoin and support for 3 other cryptocurrencies. However, after MasterCard and Visa severed ties with Pornhub last week, the company's premium services payment processor now defaults to cryptocurrency only. Yay!
That's awesome.
Pornhub is by far...
Of course, it's also probably their only option. I don't know what else they got.
I mean... PayPal,
okay, they didn't get banned from PayPal.
I mean, I don't know.
It's probably only a matter of time at this point.
I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, you might be right. I never looked.
Taking stabs. They could probably start taking checks.
That's probably a really bad
little
plan.
EFT action, right? Electronic funds transfer. You got to put your whole bank account number and the routing and all that stuff when you want to download some adult content.
Because you have to wonder how does Visa and MasterCard go about banning a particular entity? Because they could obviously say anybody that's running, because when you swipe a credit card, now by no means am I a credit card expert or anything like that, but from what I understand, Visa and MasterCard are tied into these banks that run the cards, but ultimately it's the banks that run the cards. I don't think it's Visa and MasterCard that are doing the billing, right? It's just, you know what I mean? The banks do that sort of stuff. So when the charge comes through and it says Pornhub on it, and I don't know what it, maybe it already doesn't say Pornhub. Presumably it does, but like you would think a site like Pornhub would want to put something more generic in. You know how like when you used to order porn through the mail, they'd put it in a real generic envelope.
Yeah,
right?
in the brown paper.
Yeah. So how do they identify that it's even a Pornhub transaction coming through?
I do not know. I'm sure there's a way, probably by account numbers and that kind of thing. But 855 450 free. Will you use cryptocurrency to get your adult content?
I don't think we're getting any calls.
More coming up.
Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com. Freedom! Freedom is the call of the untamed Scotsman and all others that want to feel the wind under their kilts.
At Free Talk Live, we love the breezy, swinging feeling that only a kilt from Sport Kilt can give.
We teamed up with Sport Kilt to let you experience their form of freedom at a discount. Go to kilts.freetalklive.com and see a picture of Richie and me in our kilts.
And then head over to sportkilt.com. Get some stylish freedom for yourself and use code FTL for a 10% discount. Sportkilt.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. DIVI project.org.
Free Talk Live.
The amount of young people being brought up on criminal charges, sex offender charges, for taking nude photos of themselves and putting them online. It's just so sad to see these people having their lives just rolled right over the top of by these prosecutors that want to make it look like they're doing something good, but they're not doing anything that's helping anyone. There's no victim in this case. When you hear the term child pornography, what should come to mind, if anything, should be the idea of forcing children into sexual scenes and videotaping or photographing them.
Forcing children or somebody...
Even if it's a child forcing another child, I think the force is the issue there. If you're talking about a 15-year-old girl voluntarily choosing to take a nude photo of herself to send to her boyfriend or to post online, no one forced her to do that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Yes, welcome back to the program, everybody. It is Free Talk Live. It is the Monday night edition. In the studio tonight, it is myself. I'm driving this thing. I am better known as the captain. And joining me,
it's Ian.
And we had mentioned in the previous segment a little bit about a story from Bitcoin.com. But I wanted to tell you that Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. You can go there now and click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you will find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized by your needs. There's no longer an excuse for ignorance of this important world-changing information. If you are a knowledgeable crypto user already, check out news.bitcoin.com, where you can get the latest headlines of all the news relevant to you. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website, Bitcoin.com. Go there. Visit it.
So I've been doing a little digging here, Captain, just on because I remembered Pornhub being in like the top 10 websites, and the first two lists I pulled up didn't have it in there. The first one I pulled up didn't have it in the top 50. The other one had it in at number 33.
Okay.
But according to SimilarWeb.com, which seems to get a lot of attention for this sort of thing, it is number 10.
Wow.
This is, I believe, globally. Yeah, this is globally. And there's another website that is ranked above it. It actually looks like two others. So number 8, there's a site, xvideos.com, and then number 9, xnxx.com. So apparently there are two other sites that are even more popular than Pornhub. And so 3 out of the top 10 websites, according to this, are porn sites.
Well, if they follow along in the footsteps of Pornhub and either begin taking, or if they're already taking cryptocurrency, they feature it more or make it the default, that would bode incredibly well for the world of cryptocurrency. Because
sure would.
As I was going on about, it was the mid-'90s, right, when all the IPO craze was going on, when, that's sort of right about the time when porn kind of saved the internet. There was, all the infrastructure that was being laid was at a cost, and people were like, well, how are we ever going to make our money back, and blah, blah, blah. Nobody had a good repeatable model for generating income up until the porn sites showed up. And then they were able to sort of, the thing is with products and services is like once you have a model, you can just substitute any product or service for that model, right? You don't have to obviously be peddling porn, but they created a repeatable model that generated income. And so other businesses were able to go, ooh, let's take that model and apply it to their own business.
Sure.
And, sort of make the internet go and become what it's become today. So I think I always use the analogy about cryptocurrency sort of being like the search engine wars, right? We've talked about this here on this program. There used to be Dice, there used to be Ask Jeeves, there used to be
Alta Vista,
right?
That used to be my go-to.
All these different search engines, and they were all battling for who was going to be the number one search engine, right? This was a very interesting time in the world of internet business. And out of freaking nowhere, comes this little tiny site called Google. Little tiny site. Nobody had ever heard of it, right? And they just did things a little bit differently, a little bit better than all these other search engines did. And they have become the behemoth that they are now. So,
yeah, I just looked up Alta Vista over here at SimilarWeb, and it doesn't even rank.
Yeah, well, it's rank, all right, by way of comparison. So at any rate, I use the cryptocurrency to tell folks who are just getting into it. I'm like, look, this is very similar right now, the time of cryptocurrency that we're in. It's very similar to the time of the AOL CDs. Remember that AOL used to send these CDs to everybody in the mail?
I remember them being in the stores, too.
Yeah, you could just pick them up
grab one
next to your newspaper stack or whatever, that kind of a thing. And, I would collect them, and whenever folks would run out of their minutes or whatever, like, oh, well, I'd get online, but I'm out of my free AOL minutes. And I'm, here, have a disc, right? Just have them on you, to sort of perpetuate the internet, because I was a big fan of the internet. I still am. But at any rate, cryptocurrency is in a similar time to those search engine wars. We're not sure who's going to win. There's a clear number one right now, but there's literally thousands of other ones, but in order for something to occur, for it to grow and get bigger, a large industry needs to adopt it as their primary currency.
Yeah, and this is definitely a big one. I mean, also, of course, we know PayPal started doing crypto options recently for customers.
I had an article about that where it's like they have a thing, but it's kind of weird.
I've never used it personally. It's not active on my account. So I've been told that they're supposedly active on almost all the accounts. So apparently mine's one of the ones that's not active. But you can't actually buy real crypto through it. That's the thing.
Yeah, there was some sort of a catch where they take your money and they make it seem like you're getting crypto, but you're not.
Right. So it's a closed garden, if you will, walled garden, to where you can buy cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or I think Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash. There's a handful of them.
Okay.
And so you will have a thing in your PayPal account somewhere that indicates, again, I haven't seen this in action, but it indicates that you have this amount of Bitcoin.
Okay.
But the reality is you don't actually have Bitcoin until you have the Bitcoin, meaning that you personally would control your Bitcoin, which means that you control the keys to your Bitcoin. In this case,
right.
PayPal controls the keys to those Bitcoin. You do not, and they won't even let you withdraw it from their system.
Oh,
so
that's
you really don't even have anything that resembles Bitcoin. You have a promise.
Yeah, you're kind of borrowing it.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
You just have a promise from PayPal that they've allocated this amount of Bitcoin to you.
So PayPal takes your money, puts it in Bitcoin, gives you a little indicator that you kind of have some, but never release it to you fully.
Correct. You could, as I understand it, sell the Bitcoin within PayPal, right? So let's say you buy Bitcoin at $17,000 a few days ago when it dipped down, and it's gone back up to $19,000. You could, from what I understand, tell PayPal to, quote, sell the Bitcoin, and then you would get dollars into your PayPal balance because of that. Right. So it's kind of like a little PayPal investment scheme thing where it's just you're buying pretend Bitcoin that's supposedly backed by real Bitcoin, but you have to ask yourself, are they going to do the same thing that I've heard that Coinbase does, which is to say that in their terms of service. Now, of course, Coinbase will actually let you withdraw Bitcoin. So like as far as big bad corporations selling Bitcoin go, Coinbase is better than PayPal.
Agreed.
Because you can actually withdraw the Bitcoin. But the claim from some is that in Coinbase's terms, if you order a withdrawal of Bitcoin, and let's say there's a run on the bank, or maybe Coinbase has been cooking the books and they don't really have the Bitcoin that they say they have for whatever reason, then they supposedly have the right to cash you out in whatever they want. So if you're a dollar customer, they could send you a dollar value of what Bitcoin was worth at the time that you ordered the cash out, instead of actually giving you the Bitcoin. In PayPal's case, they don't even have to give you the Bitcoin because they never said that they would in the first place.
Right. That seems sketchy at best. Not your keys, not your money, everybody.
That's
not
the lesson.
Your keys, not your money is the first rule of cryptocurrency, if you will. 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number if you'd like to join in the conversation. More on cryptocurrency, porn, and people defying the government coming up on Free Talk Live.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have two cats, Dixie and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cats to Dynavite, I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life. You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it. Wait on the counter. Now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It is Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio talk program where you can take control of the airwaves, talk about anything you would like to. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
And it's Ian.
We have been talking about this article from news.bitcoin.com. Pornhub's premium service now defaults to cryptocurrency payments. And we find that very interesting. Ian's covered a little bit of this already with his pickaxe and shovel. He's been digging up some data on this. But this article goes on to say the adult site is the 10th most trafficked site on the web. And the company claimed to have 42 billion visits last year. Estimates say that 11,082 hours of video is watched per minute on Pornhub.
Wow.
And ever since the COVID-19 government lockdown traffic extraordinaire, lockdown, traffic has skyrocketed. So, of course, people are staying home, doing less going out, and that kind of a thing. You know, your website's going to get more traffic. However, the company has been dealing with financial issues as the leading payment processors MasterCard and Visa cut off Pornhub last week. This means individuals looking to purchase the company's premium services cannot use a credit card for payments. Since the financial blockade by MasterCard and Visa, Pornhub's premium service plans now must be paid with cryptocurrencies, as that is the only option available. And they do have a screenshot of their site here. If a user wants to purchase a plan that starts at $9.99 a month or a yearly plan with a one-time payment, the person has 13 cryptocurrencies that they can choose from.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right here. Just wanted to see how, it's interesting when businesses...
Are you surfing porn at work,
I'm
Ian?
actually doing research, Captain.
Research, quote unquote.
I'm looking here to see, what are they using? It's apparently a company called ProBiller. But here's the funny thing. When I first connected to the site, I had a VPN connected.
Okay.
And so it's like a European IP address.
Yep.
It did not give me the cryptocurrency option. The only option I had was SEPA, which is a European bank transfer system.
Oh.
So then I disconnected from the VPN,
Right.
went back to the site as a US IP address,
Right.
and then cryptocurrency was the only option.
Huh.
So how strange that they would not allow, implement a cryptocurrency system, but then IP restrict it only to the United States or only certain parts of the world?
Well, that's going to depend on the laws within those
in Europe,
areas,
I guess.
right? Yeah. So whatever country your IP was spoofed off of with the VPN, it said, oh, hey, you can't do. So I mean, this happens frequently with a bunch of stuff. The U.S. is odd in that respect, in that. You can, if you VPN to Europe or Russia or somewhere like that, and then you connect to YouTube, you see different content, and you're able to so.
But I've never seen cryptocurrency become not an option because you're in Europe. I mean,
it's weird.
I can't imagine that I understand that some countries might be hostile towards crypto, but I've not heard of any European countries banning crypto.
Well, I'm guessing that the country is not hostile to crypto. I'm guessing that it's hostile to porn, and that the porn itself is what's regulated. And so therefore, because it's so highly regulated, they can only take...
You can only do a bank transfer. Maybe. It's interesting speculation. If you're in Europe and you have some idea why there wouldn't be crypto options on this, that was a surprise for me.
Yeah, give us a call, 855-450-3733.
Yeah, that's got to be it. I don't know. It's weird. Crypto's global, so there's no excuse not to, unless this company they're using for the billing, for whatever reason, restricts it only to U.S.
Yeah.
Strange.
And Pornhub is a global company, too, so they
I would think so.
Probably do all sorts of different things depending on what region the IP is coming from. So, but yeah, you're right, actually. The next paragraph, Pornhub is leveraging the payment processor ProBiller, and the service supports BTC, that's regular Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, BCH, Dash, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Monero,
there you go,
NEM, XEM, Tether, Tron, Verge, Waves, and Zcash.
I've never even heard of Waves.
Yeah, or Verge either. I'm not familiar with those guys. Tether I've heard of, Tron.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal.
I wonder why they selected those out of the thousands of different cryptocurrencies. Like Monero, I get, right? They're kind of a privacy deal. Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, those are all sort of bigger players, I guess, in the cryptocurrency space.
They might have just put it out there that, hey, we're going to start servicing Pornhub. Who wants in? And then took bids.
Maybe. Tether's an interesting one because that's just the stablecoin against the US dollar, right?
Tether's huge, though. It's, I think, the number 3 largest.
I'll bet you because Coinbase has it. Right, and all the other the larger crypto exchanges have the Tether.
Everything has Tether. Tether is everywhere. It is, for listeners that aren't familiar. I'm sorry, it's not number 3. I believe it was at one time, but it is number 4. So Tether, by market cap size, is almost, not quite, $20 billion in market cap. It's at 19.8.
Holy balls.
Yeah, and it's been growing tremendously over the last year. So the amount of money that people are putting into this so-called stablecoin, for listeners that don't know, it means it's a cryptocurrency token that's backed by a dollar. So they're backed 1-to-1, supposedly. Now the theories about Tether is that they're actually falsifying data, and I don't know if there's any truth to that. It's never been proven that they're doing this, but that's what a lot of people are worried about with Tether. Is like, well, how do we really know that you guys have all the cash that you say that you have?
Right. Yeah.
Do you really have $17.9 or $17.8 billion in a bank account somewhere?
Right.
Or more than one bank account?
Well, even if they do, we know that the Federal Reserve just prints money at will, and so that's not real either.
No doubt
in the
about
grand
it.
Scheme of things. So, do they? I don't know. Maybe
does it matter?
Yeah. Does it? It's just another denomination of the exchange of value, right? All these cryptocurrencies are. are different languages. That's it, right? It's like Spanish, English, Swahili, pick a language, German, whatever. Pick a language, any language, and at some point there's a translator, right? Well, and that's what the exchanges are. They're just a translator to translate between this currency and that currency so everybody can communicate the value. It's just the expression of value. It's like music is the expression of, emotion, by moving sound, right? Cryptocurrency is just the expression of value in some sort of denomination, and each of these cryptocurrencies is
just different expressions of value.
Different expression, So some is blues, some is metal, some is jazz, it doesn't matter. Some is country.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love how many choices there are. It's overwhelming, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, and each one will find their niche. I'm not worried about it.
Or they'll die. Actually, there have been thousands of them that have already died.
Or get scooped up and, built upon their core and change their name. I mean, we've seen that already.
Forking, as they call it, yeah. But right now, over at CoinGecko.com, which is one of those websites that ranks cryptocurrencies by various different factors, there are over 6,000 coins that are listed on that site.
Wow.
And that doesn't include all the ones that have died.
Right.
So there's probably thousands and thousands more that somebody tried and it just didn't go anywhere, or it took off and then died, or whatever. There's all kinds of stories out there, but the only ones that matter are the ones that survive.
So the article goes on. Unfortunately, we are unable to accept credit cards at this moment, the Pornhub Premium Services web shop page says. On social media and crypto-related Reddit forums, crypto advocates were thrilled to see cryptocurrencies become the default payment for Pornhub. On the subreddit r/BTC, a number of BCH fans discussed the revamped crypto support by the mega-large adult video sharing site. Quote, one of the biggest news of the year for adoption, one Redditor wrote. I would say one of the biggest ever, another person responded. Because in this instance, credit cards aren't even an option.
This is a big deal.
Yeah, the individual added, Pornhub is such a massive website. This is going to bring so many normies into cryptocurrency who don't care or want to invest in it. They just need an uncensorable payment method. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more with their sentiments. I think that this is an exciting time for cryptocurrency. 855, 450, free like freedom. We've got more Free Talk Live coming up.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead, so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
to random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
855 450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. That is our toll-free number here. You can join in on the conversation here at Free Talk Live. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the host, the Reverend Captain Kickass, and joining me,
it's Ian.
And we've been spending far more than a couple of minutes on porn here on Free Talk Live.
As has happened, I'm sure, with
unlike
many.
most people.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about cryptocurrency is now the default payment for Pornhub, the largest adult content provider on the globe. And it was because they're no longer taking Visa and MasterCard. But this article didn't go into why, and we'll get into that in just a second. But I just wanted to finish up this last statement. People who wish to pay for Pornhub's premium membership with centralized services like PayPal, MasterCard, and Visa are shut out entirely, and it's not likely the companies will reverse the financial blockade decision. So MasterCard and Visa have completely blocked Pornhub, and I was like, well, why? This article doesn't mention why. And Ian, you've been, Mr. Pickaxe and Shovel, digging up some research here.
Yeah, so I actually had a story about this a few days ago, and this is from Vice.com, which, appropriate. They were explaining that apparently the decision came after Visa and MasterCard said last week that they would investigate allegations of child sexual abuse imagery on Pornhub and their relationship to MindGeek, which is apparently their parent company. So that might be who, if you get the credit card charge, or when they could do it, it might show up as like MindGeek or something.
Right, yeah.
I'm just guessing. MasterCard said in its statement to Bloomberg on Thursday, quote, "Our investigation over the past several days has confirmed violations of our standards prohibiting unlawful content on their site. We instructed the financial institutions that connect the site to our network to terminate acceptance."
Interesting.
So that translates to they knew who Pornhub's gateway was,
right?
Whoever their payment gateway was. They said to them, get rid of these guys, or we're done with you.
It's interesting because I know that sometime after Google purchased the YouTube and the YouTube started demonetizing people, deplatforming people.
You mean in recent years?
Yeah. The last 5-10 years, something like that. That people who would normally upload things to YouTube and then have YouTube take them down, and then they'd re-upload them, and then YouTube would take. There was this little game that they would play, and this was also around the time I'm trying to remember. Was Kim.com the one responsible for like Putlocker?
I don't know. He was doing Mega Upload.
Mega Uploads. That's what he was. So Mega Uploads had taken a dive. Putlocker was another file sharing, upload, download sort of thing for video specifically. And so for a time, people turned to Pornhub. So
just to upload normal videos.
Just to upload, like you could see the newest theater release of like the new Star Wars movie that came out, because somebody would get
until they got reported
a bootleg copy. They do a cam video of it in the theater in I don't know, Saudi Arabia or somewhere, and then they would post that to Pornhub. So like you could go and watch a bootleg copy of a theatrical release on Pornhub because it allowed users to upload their own content.
Correct. And I believe it still does, right? Like that's the only way they could have so much of it.
Yeah, I've gotten out of the porn business, Ian, so I can't tell you. I've just never been in. But I assume they can. So I wonder.
In fact, I know they can.
I wonder if that's part of the
one
reason.
Of our co-hosts has a video up on that site.
How long ago was it uploaded? Approximately.
I think it was
years.
Last year.
Okay, yeah, that's recent.
Maybe it was the beginning of this year. Probably last year, though. Yeah, I think it was last year.
All right.
So yes, you can have your own. So that's the only way it could be done. So that's the thing. It's like, how do you police something like that, right? Well, like if people are uploading things that are illegal to that, you have to wait until someone reports it.
Right.
There's no other way to know, because at least with like a copyrighted movie or copyrighted music, they can match that, right? So like there's the algorithm or whatever that looks at the waveform or the video, the bits, and it matches a pattern, right? Because only this pattern looks like Mary Poppins, right? When it starts to play. And so they can do that on the copyrighted things relatively simply with just a large enough database, and I'm sure there's service providers that provide those sorts of checks.
Yep.
But how do you do that with a porn video that no one's ever seen before? Homemade pornography, amateur porn, even if it's in a catalog somewhere, it's going to be tougher to match those things.
Well, and governments throughout the years have been attempting to sort of narrow the field of user uploads by making these websites responsible for the content that's uploaded by the users.
That's what Trump has been pushing for. He wants the United States to end its so-called Section 230 protections, which normally applies to the idea of things being expressed in like a comments section or whatever, but it can also apply to copyrighted works. And could that actually affect their liability for illegal pornography being uploaded, such as child pornography or a snuff film or something like that?
Right. I remember too, Doug Stanhope did a bit about child pornography and how he was reading a thing where it was like child pornography is rampant on the internet. And if you've ever heard Doug Stanhope, he's funny. He's a super funny guy, but he's like, you guys got to trust me. I have surfed all sorts of different porn in my day and my time, and I have never once accidentally in a drunken stupor on drugs stumbled upon some kiddie porn.
Right.
He's like, if it's not rampant. These claims are false. Can you find it? I mean, I don't know. Can you?
Apparently, you could on Pornhub, according to this investigation. It was actually apparently the New York Times. Vice.com said, so again, MasterCard last week said that they, quote, confirmed violations of our standards as far as what Pornhub had on their site. Following that news, the official Visa account tweeted out, quote, given the allegations of illegal activity. So just given allegations.
The allegation, right? Yeah.
Of illegal activity.
Guilty Visa, until proven innocent.
Right. Visa is suspending Pornhub's acceptance privileges pending the completion of our ongoing investigation. We are instructing the financial institutions who serve MindGeek to suspend processing of payments through the Visa network. Now, I mean, it's hard to believe that American Express or, Discover is going to let them do things. And in fact, they're not an option on the site.
What about Diners Club? I'm just kidding. Nobody cares about Diners Club.
So, so basically you just have these two companies pulling their relationship, Visa pulling theirs over what MasterCard said, And because they're basically on the same team. This is the big banks. I mean, this is the old money institutions. Let me go on, though. Pornhub said, quote, "These actions are exceptionally disappointing as they come just 2 days after Pornhub instituted the most far-reaching safeguards in user-generated platform history. Unverified users are now banned from uploading content, a policy no other platform has put in place, including Facebook, which reported 84 million instances of child sexual abuse material over the last 3 years."
So it's probably more rampant on Facebook
yeah.
than it is on... Oh,
that's interesting.
Wow.
In comparison, the Internet Watch Foundation reported 118 incidents on Pornhub over the last 3 years. This news, or I guess the last 3 years for both. So 84 million on Facebook, 118 of them on Pornhub. Huge difference, they say. The news is crushing for the hundreds of thousands of models who rely on our platform for their livelihoods. So, yeah, apparently there are quite a few people that are putting their own amateur porn, or I guess it's professional if you get paid for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So their own professional porn up on this site. On Monday, MasterCard said in a statement to the New York Times that if the claims were substantiated, the credit card company would, quote, "take immediate action. When we identify illegal activity, our policy is to ask the acquirer to terminate the relationship."
But would they take immediate action if the claims are not found to be substantiated and restore everything?
Yeah, they said at the beginning of their statement to CNBC that their investigation confirmed violations of their standards.
So then why were they even processing payments for them in the first place?
They hadn't investigated them, I guess, thoroughly enough. This follows a major policy shift announcement from Pornhub Tuesday. The platform would ban unverified uploads and downloads and bolster existing moderation practices. Models who use the site have been asking the platform to make these changes for a long time, and they made the change following an expose from the New York Times into the lives of sexual assault victims' images that were being hosted on the site and pressure from payment processors.
Oh, effective journalism? From
yeah,
the New
they
York
effectively
Times?
got their business pulled from them.
Well, yeah, that seems to be the case. 855-450-3733 is our phone number. We've got more interesting topics for you tonight on Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Stamps.com brings the post office and UPS shipping right to your computer. Go to Stamps.com to start a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with promo code FOX. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the page and type in FOX.
He's out. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The nation's top law enforcement official is leaving the White House.
President Trump tweeting, just had a very nice meeting with Attorney General Bill Barr at the White House. Our relationship has been a very good one. He has done an outstanding job. As per letter, Bill will be leaving just before Christmas to spend the holidays with his family. Deputy Attorney General Jeff Rosen, an outstanding person, will become acting Attorney General. The president has been openly feuding with Barr after he concluded that the Department of Justice has not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the presidential election. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
It's official. California's 55 electoral votes putting President-elect Biden over the top.
Joseph R. Biden of Delaware, a Democrat. Ayes 55. Noes 0.
Confirming the Biden victory in last month's election, Biden's expected to speak later this hour. An excerpt released earlier, he's expected to say there is urgent work in front of all of us, getting the pandemic under control to getting the nation vaccinated against this virus. The first doses of the Pfizer vaccine for COVID-19 are being distributed across the country as the nation surpasses 300,000 deaths. Another COVID-19 relief package on the table is being presented by Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate. One bill would provide $748 billion in aid for small businesses and vaccine distribution.
Basically what it does, it takes care of those who are unemployed. In an emergency, if you're unemployed, that's an emergency and you're running out of your unemployment check. We have 13 weeks or 16 weeks at $300 a week for that. Food assistance. We have nutrition assistance, food assistance.
West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin, the second $160 billion package would include aid for state and local governments and create a temporary liability shield from COVID-related lawsuits. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
Indoor dining in New York City is on hold again.
Restaurants are still permitted to have takeaway, delivery, and can provide outdoor dining. That means customers can be served at street-side tables as well as in temporary structures. An industry group, the New York Hospitality Alliance, issued a statement that read in part, Governor Cuomo's announcement to once again shut down indoor dining in New York City is at odds with the state's own data, adding it will be the last straw for countless more restaurants and jobs. Making the situation worse is the weather. Rain today is keeping diners away, and later this week, heavy snow is in the forecast. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Britain's health secretary says London and its surrounding areas will be placed under the highest level of coronavirus restrictions starting Wednesday.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
The Relationship Pro talks to your girlfriend so you don't have to.
We're joined today in our demo center by Eric and Pam, a couple that's been teetering on the edge of divorce for years.
So, Pam, you guys have been using the controller all morning. I understand it's a very good listener.
It's like talking to a fully developed person.
It's got to be a major relief not needing your husband to be your partner or a friend.
Oh, yeah.
So, Eric, it must be a tremendous relief to know that there's someone else on the other end of Pam's eye rolls.
Oh, now I can focus on my game instead of worrying about all that stuff she said there.
Will the Relationship Pro keep you two together?
I think it'll drag this thing out for another couple months.
Amazing. Now, to thank you two for coming on the show, we bought you two the new Deluxe Relationship Pro Extreme.
This expanded model has 2 new modes. Fantasy mode, which allows you to select the age and nationality of the controller's voice.
Oh, I choose a voice like my dad's.
Okay. And a hyper-realistic mode that starts fights and then grovels pathetically when it's afraid you might get rid of it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome back to the program. We're going into the second hour now of the live Monday edition of Free Talk Live, the only radio program, well, at least the radio program where you can call in and take control of the airwaves, talk about whatever you like, or talk about anything we've been talking about. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733, or 855-450, free as in freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
It's Ian.
And I just wanted to read to you guys a little thing that was not written by me, but I thought it was hilarious. I call it the Irrational Anthem. It's not really an anthem. It's the Pledge of Allegiance, but it's a parody.
Oh.
And it goes like this. I pledge allegiance to the mask of the United States of COVID and to the virus for which it stands. One nation, under fear, quarantined, with lockdowns and vaccines for all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. A guy named Mike wrote that. So, thanks, Mike. You're internet famous. Not that you weren't already.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pretty avid memer. He partook in the meme wars. He's a veteran.
Excellent. Glad he survived.
We had talked at the beginning of hour one that it's time. I mean, it's been time, but I've been celebrating whenever I'm on air these businesses who are acting in defiance now, because it is far past time for not only individuals but businesses as well to come together and support each other, because none of this lockdown crap is going away. It'll go away as soon as everybody decides it's time. As soon as you start taking off your masks and you start shopping like normal and behaving like normal human frickin' beings again, that's when it's going to go away. Not until then.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to keep this up. As much as you put up with, they're going to ask for more.
They're going to take more.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was just pointing out in one of the activist chats here today, they were posting some of the responses. We had another protest out in front of the governor's house yesterday here in New Hampshire. And of course, you know, the mask obedient fearful are out there just hollering about how terrible people we are and we're dangerous, and somebody said something like an unmasked face in a crowd is akin to shooting a gun up in the air.
Wow.
And I'm like, you know what? This is a good thing. I hope that what we can do is actually convince people who don't want to be masked, because there's a group of them that don't want to do it, but they do it because they're afraid of what people will think, or they're afraid of just getting attention that they don't want, or whatever.
They otherwise got lives to lead, and like, whatever. It's,
they just want to put it on to get their shopping done and get out. They don't want trouble. They're part of the problem, unfortunately. And if we can convince them to change their mind about this, convince them that the signs that say masks required, they don't actually mean it. There are exemptions. And you can use one of those exemptions to reclaim your facial freedom in this particular case. And if more people do, if these people who are in the fear world are really as afraid as they say, where they're accusing us of being manslaughterers, accusing us of being dangerous, accusing us of all these horrible... Well, then they will become more afraid, okay? Because right now they're in the supermajority. Right now the masked up people, at least here, now that's different in other areas. I know, like rural areas, not so much.
from what I understand, in like the Midwest or whatever. But here, when I go around, there's 90+%, if not 95%, compliance with this stuff. So if we can get down to 60% compliance or 50% or whatever, the more we can push the numbers in the direction of free faces, the more the mask people will freak out. And yeah, there's going to be some nasty confrontations, but there already are.
Yeah. It's sad.
So then they'll leave, right? For the same reason that the most ultra liberal folks don't want to come to New Hampshire is because there's guns here. Well, now they're making masks being mask free akin to shooting a gun in the air.
Right.
So it's almost as good as walking around with a gun on your hip.
Right.
So now you could walk around with no mask and a gun on your hip, and you'll really scare these people away. So that's, I think, my best plan at this point is to just encourage people to take the mask off and stop wearing it. Just stop.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, because it's one thing to ask a business owner to go ahead and put everything on the line.
Right.
Because I get it. You've put hundreds of thousands of dollars into your business. You don't want to have your licenses taken away, and the government's scary, and they might put you in a jail cell. So I understand why these businesses are not standing up, although we're starting to see some coalitions being formed, which we can talk about more.
We will.
But it's a smaller thing to ask a person individually to just, hey, dude, could you just not put that on? What would happen? What would happen to you if you didn't wear that?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, and it might actually, make you feel a little more human. But at any rate, this from care11.com out of Minnesota, the Minneapolis area. More than 100 Minnesota business owners plan to reopen despite Governor Walz's orders. People are desperate, and they are coming up with a solution now. They're stuck in a tight corner with no other place to turn. From Minnesota. According to the Minnesota Department of Health, 2 lawsuits have been filed by the state of Minnesota against restaurants operating in violation of the governor's executive order, and a 3rd restaurant has had its license revoked. However, that's not stopping organizations like Reopen Minnesota from orchestrating a mass reopening event, whether the governor's executive order is lifted or not. Reopen Minnesota has introduced a 2-phase plan for business owners to reopen starting on Wednesday, December 16th. That's this Wednesday, 2 days from now. The governor's 4-week dial-back order is set to expire on December 18th. So a clear 2 days in front of the expiration, which if this goes the way other governor's orders, they're going to renew it. It's not going to expire on December 18th. They're going to be, oh, no, we got to keep you locked down. We got to keep you shut down. Can't have you making money. Can't have you, running a business.
If it just saves one life, we'll destroy all business.
People are so desperate, and they're coming up with a solution now. They're stuck in a tight corner with no other place to turn, said organizer Darius. Ooh, that is a name. Teichrow. I'm going with Teichroew.
All right.
Yeah. Lisa Monet Zarza is one of at least 150 business owners that Darius said is set to take part in next week's reopening plans.
And I'm sorry, was this the whole state of Minnesota or just one particular?
It's like
Minneapolis.
State,
okay, the whole state. Okay.
Yeah, it's Reopen Minnesota.
Okay.
So, yeah. And Minnesota's a mid-sized state.
Yeah, I was just curious what we were talking about.
We're not saying that COVID isn't real. We're not saying that, but the implications of everything involved with COVID are so much more than what's being reported, said Zarza, owner of Froggy Bottoms in Northfield and Alibi Drinkery in Lakeville. According to John Stiles, a spokesman for the Minnesota Attorney General's office, businesses choosing to violate the executive order could be fined up to $25,000 and even face criminal penalties.
Well, so far the gym owners in New Jersey, the Belmar, New Jersey gym, the Attilis gym, he's now racked up over $1 million in fines.
Of course.
And you know what? He doesn't care.
Good.
He's just going to keep going.
Good. I'm glad. Zarza goes on, we're not demanding that you come into our restaurants. We're not demanding that you go into the gyms. We're asking for the right for you to be able to come in, which you currently don't have.
Right. The right to make a choice.
Right.
Like the same choice you always used to make about the risks you were willing to take in life, and the choice that you can still make in a lot of areas. You can still choose to drive, which is an incredibly risky activity.
You can still choose to take a shower in a bathtub.
Walk
and that
across
is also
the street.
a risky activity.
Swim in a lake. Go kayaking in a river. These are all, skateboard on a sidewalk. These are all risky activities that if you did every day, you'd probably have a larger chance of dying from.
Absolutely.
I went ahead and just took a peek at the Reopen Minnesota Facebook page, and they have some interesting things to say. For those detractors to our cause, we appreciate your sense of justice and mercy, which we hope you have. These businesses represent not some money-hungry owners looking to swim in pools of gold, but rather people who have spent their lives risking so much to accomplish their dreams. Employees struggling to put food on the table and a roof over their heads just as Christmas arrives. Yep. 855-450-3733 is the time for you to defy right now.
Yes.
More coming up.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. D-I-V-I Project.org. Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live, the Monday night edition. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE like freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself. And who are you?
Me?
Hi, me. Wait, does that mean I'm talking to me?
Hello, me. It's me again.
Do you have a name, me?
I don't know.
Am I just going to make one up? We'll call you Dave. That's not a very creative name.
Nah, that's a bad name.
We'll call you Prometheus.
Oh, all right. No.
It's hard for me to remember.
I'm a guy.
Some guy.
Here with another dude.
If you want to talk to these interesting characters, our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. Join in the conversation. Talk about anything you'd like. You have heard us talk about Divi here on Free Talk Live. And maybe you've wanted to set up one of their easy-to-deploy masternodes or stake Divi so that you can begin earning Divi right now. Ian, I don't know who that guy is, says that setting up a Divi masternode was super easy, and staking was even easier. Now, we're not investment advisors here on Free Talk Live, but we do think you'll be impressed with your earning potential with Divi as compared to traditional investment vehicles. Go to diviproject.org and get started. You can buy Divi at several exchanges or directly from the Divi team. If you need help, there's a link to their Telegram channel right on the front page at diviproject.org. That's D-I-V-I project.org. So in the previous segment, I was just reading a little bit from... This looks like sort of a mission statement, if you will, from this Reopen Minnesota Coalition.
There's 150 businesses that are saying they're going to reopen on the 19th?
On the 16th.
Oh, 16th.
Yes, so Wednesday.
Oh, great.
Yeah, 2
days. The sooner the better.
Yes, it's like, why not open now?
Right.
You know. But they go on to say, for those who want to say that these businesses are putting others at risk, we challenge you to show us from any science or data that the risk of going to a bar or working out at a gym or bowling 10 frames or teaching a small dance class is any more dangerous than going to Walmart, walking through a crowded Mall of America, or spending 2 hours in a busy supermarket.
Well, see, the mega corporations are safer because they give way more money to the politicians.
That makes them safer?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Mm-hmm.
They go on. Trust us. We all have families. Many of us have family members in the medical field. Many of us have lost loved ones to COVID. But the state's own data does not support any of the current lockdown. And much of the country and the world stands amazed that Minnesota and other states have leaders resorting to the failed policies of mass lockdown, especially lockdowns so arbitrary as this one.
It's interesting how surprised they act. Why, how could our Minnesota leaders have fallen for this trap? They're demanding more power here in Minnesota, too. I mean, it is shocking. Shocking that these people, these politicians here would do this.
Yeah, well, they don't realize that, well, politicians are not leaders. They are control freaks.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, to some extent, there's some truth in what they're saying. These people do want leaders. They want people to tell them what to do. It's just they think these leaders are wrong. So, oh, you guys are wrong. We elected you and everything, and we support the system. But look, all the data doesn't support this. If you could show us data that supports the lockdowns, then we'd be fine closing and losing our businesses.
They go on to say, we demand the right to provide for our families as we always have, give income and employment to our workers as we always have.
See, that's the thing. You should be able to do those things regardless of what the data says.
Agreed.
So even if the data says this COVID is 10 times more deadly than it actually is, or 100 times more deadly than it actually is, and it isn't that deadly. But even if it were much more deadly, as a person who's free,
yes,
you should be able to make the choice of, hey, we're going to open up anyway. And those of you who are worried, just stay home. And those of you who are willing to take a risk, then come on out. You can be our customers. And they should be able to make that choice.
Absolutely.
And not have to be arguing over what the data says.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, and that should have been the whole bit from the get-go. Yeah, should have been, well, here's some advice. Right, go see some other doctors, consult some other experts if you want, advice tailored for you and your business and your family or whatever, your community, all that kind of stuff. You should be free to go and seek that out for your specific circumstances, and then follow that advice if you deem it's okay. But what you do not have the right to do is to force everybody else to comply with your method, and that's exactly what's been happening. They go on to say, we have inalienable rights that no one can bully us out of without recourse. Well, except they did. And then they do continue to say, so next week we plan to hashtag open safe. So I don't know what that means, but
it's just pandering.
Yeah. It sounds like appealing to authority is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, the only business that I have not seen pandering in that way is the Attila's Gym.
Yes.
Almost every other business. Okay, I'll also say Fucking Great here in Keene, the Fun Noodle restaurant. Although she's not out on Front Street like the Attila's Gym is, she's got sort of a similar attitude, but she's just not wearing it on her sleeve as much as they are. They're posting it on Instagram every single day. They're blowing it up big. But of all the videos I've seen of the Attila's Gym guy and him promoting reopening or opening and then, not apologizing for it, he's never gone around and taken the viewers of his, webcam on a tour of all their cleaning procedures. That's never happened with him.
Right, yeah.
Right? Maybe they are cleaning things a little more often. I don't know about that, but he's not advertising it. Whereas every other business owner who gets interviewed by the news media for just wanting to reopen, they're always falling all over themselves to talk about, well, we're doing social distancing and we've got all these cleaning supplies and we're cleaning every 5 minutes and we're cleaning up after you stand up and we're cleaning. They go through all these motions to show how safe they are.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like somebody who's been abused.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the abused victim will always wonder what they did wrong to continually get abused. I've done all the things you asked for. I've complied and obeyed in all the ways that you asked, and yet you still hit me.
Yep.
Right? So
not good enough.
Battered voter syndrome is alive and well, apparently.
Battered business syndrome in this particular case.
It is. Yeah, you're right. They do. They're like, well, we masked everybody up, and we're wearing these plastic gloves now, and we're sanitizing.
Right.
I mean, people aren't sanitizing money, but I'm surprised they're not. Has anybody even thought of that? Like cash
to literally put it in the laundry.
I did a cash transaction today, and I got some change back, and I tossed the remaining change in a little compartment, in my car, where I keep, whatever that, 25 cents or whatever it was, 26 cents. But I
can tell you the germaphobes thought about it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. They won't use cash.
Are people sanitizing their money?
They won't use it.
Wow.
The people who take this seriously, they're only using touchless payment methods. Either that or they've got the little wipes. So they'll use the credit card. So they might use a credit card machine where you still have to touch it to make it, put your numbers in or PIN pad or whatever, but they'll wipe it down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen it the drive-thrus. They have the pad on the stick. 855-450-3733. Have you become a germaphobe? More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Moose is the German Shepherd, now 11, and he's been an amazing dog. Moose is so active and so alert and hasn't had any kind of health problems at all. He has a beautiful coat, and at 11, he'll still run and chase the ball. He has been on Dynavite since he's a puppy.
Dynavite for life.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks,
you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road. DINOVITE.com.
We tell anybody that has a dog, if there was something that you could do right from the beginning so that you don't have expensive veterinary bills, why would you not do it? Get the Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. Welcome back to the program. Thanks for listening, everybody. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. If you would like to get on the air, talk about whatever's on your mind. You can talk about anything we've been talking about. We're focused a little bit right now on people acting defiantly to these, in my opinion, criminal lockdowns.
Just say no.
Take off your masks, open your business, conduct yourself like normal beings with rights, normal human beings.
These guys aren't even saying take off the masks. They just want to open their business.
Yeah, they just want to get back to, making money because they're right. There is no more risk for you to go to a small mom and pop business to have a cocktail or to eat some lunch or have breakfast than there is walking around frickin' Walmart. Or any of the other large retailers that they haven't shut down. And I'd also like to point out that not one of these government people who have put these lockdowns in place and continue to enforce them have lost a dime. Not one of them have missed a paycheck. Yeah. Not one of them have suffered at all. None of their businesses, if they even have any, are closed, are suffering from any of this. And if they are, they've got the money to back it up.
Sure. So there's another story that's related.
There is, and it's from a very large landmass. But I wanted to tell you first that AnyPay 2.0 is here, and crypto payments are now faster than ever. If you're using Edge Wallet, Handcash, Bitcoin.com, or Dash Wallet, your experience should be smooth. But some wallets aren't ready for this impressive new technology. These wallet programmers need to hear from you, the wallet users. Visit anypayinc.com/upgrade to learn why some popular wallets are incompatible with AnyPay 2.0 and reach out to the wallet programmers and encourage them to make payments perfect at anypayinc.com/upgrade. So,
indeed. And we're talking about local business owners. AnyPay can help local business owners accept cryptocurrency payments, which is awesome.
It is.
And local business owners who are standing up. You had just told us about 150, was it, businesses across Minnesota?
Yeah, over 100 had pledged, and they expected 100, something like that. But yeah, 150 have. There was a form that you could fill out and say, yes, I'm going to open. And then they had a checkbox for, can we advertise your business or not? And so they were trying to at least respect that. But they certainly were compiling a list and checking it twice.
Now, there's, according to Google, 5.64 million people living in the so-called state of Minnesota, while in Anchorage, Alaska, there's under 300,000. And according to this story over at mustreadalaska.com, there are as many as 100 businesses within the Anchorage area calling themselves the Anchorage Business Coalition.
The ABC.
They are preparing what is
rudimentary.
What's being described here as mass civil disobedience, where shopkeepers, cafes, and other businesses are banding together to open on Saturday, December 19th. So they're not coordinating with the crew there in Minnesota, but basically it's the same week. In defiance of Anchorage's acting mayor's lockdown order, EO 16, which has kept restaurants closed and others crippled with 25% capacity orders. The group has been meeting for several weeks to find a way to salvage the Anchorage economy and Christmas in Alaska's largest city. Many shoppers are either purchasing only online or are traveling to the Matsu Valley for their annual gift pursuits, since Anchorage has only allowed the big box stores to remain fully functional. The small businesses that have decided to fully open on Saturday are not ready to be named because the owners, understandably, fear being arrested or punished, because that's what'll happen. If they listed out the names of these 100 businesses, the attorney general or the town prosecutor or whoever it would be in this particular case would start to issue letters, and then they would send agents around to, hand deliver them if they needed to make sure they knew they were really serious about it.
Here comes the armed agents.
Yeah, so smart move. I think it's a smart move to keep quiet the number of business and just advertise how many, the raw number of it. Keep quiet the actual names until the day of. And according to the story here, according to Must Read Alaska's source involved with the effort, a group organizer says businesses are fully prepared to offer good services just like the big box stores do, without any harassment. Of course, the big box stores being left alone. Numerous stores and restaurants have folded this year already after seeing seesawing shutdowns mandated by the municipality. Those that remain open are hoping to hang on long enough for the economy to return, which may be several months or years away.
Yeah, and just to interject here for a minute, they are seesawing. All these governors, mayor, whatever, whomever is putting in these lockdown orders in your area, they're all seesawing. They're like,
lock it down.
No, lock it down. Open it up. No, lock it down. No, only open
25%. 25%.
50%.
No.
just stop listening to them.
Right.
Stop freaking listening to them.
They'll never stop writing the rules. They'll just keep coming with more of them.
There's less of them than there are of you.
Yes.
Is really the bottom line. If you act in unison, you can reopen.
That's right. That's all it takes. But unfortunately,
somewhere along the line, folks who claim to live in the land of the free forgot about that.
It's true. They got soft. They got lazy.
They got something.
That's pretty much the story. I was just kind of backing you up. It's nice to see this happening.
How many?
100
businesses
in one city, which is way more impressive than 150 in an entire state.
And I would think that Alaska would be, there's
more of an independent spirit up there.
Yeah, you would think so, because they're all sort of preppers by necessity.
Sure. It's cold.
Living in that area. I mean, Anchorage is a city proper. I've been there. I visited the place. So
really?
It's got all the, the stuff that, any city, but it's like, if you go to Manchester or something like that.
It's bigger than Manchester.
Well, population-wise,
Yeah.
but it's spread out. There's no, skyscrapers or anything in Anchorage, right? It's, at tops 5-6-story buildings, that kind of thing, right? So it's very spread out. There's plenty of parking everywhere.
Nice.
There's no crampedness to the cities, that kind of a thing. The lanes are nice and wide on the streets and that kind of thing, because there's plenty of space.
Yeah, sweet.
But having said that, I am thrilled that Alaska is participating in such an act of defiance. It warms the cockles of my heart.
Me too. Kudos to them, and I hope it works out. I hope we hear good news.
Me too.
Instead of raids
did it say
and arrests.
when it was going
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, cool.
So you got Minnesota going on Wednesday. You got Anchorage going on Saturday.
Nice. So hopefully we'll have something more on that next week.
And if there's others that are going on out there, please let us know. By no means are we tapped into all of these things. We just hear what we hear.
Well, I do have this other bit.
Give me some bits.
I've got a couple of things. I've got this bit that we teased from Washington State, where the state of Washington threatens criminal charges against a Chehalis restaurant for defying the indoor dining ban. Spiffy's Restaurant and Bakery in Chehalis is continuing to keep indoor dining open despite Governor Jay Inslee's COVID-19 restrictions. Washington State is threatening legal action against a Lewis County restaurant open in defiance of Governor Inslee's COVID-19 restrictions on indoor dining. The Washington State Department of Labor and Industries, L&I, posted notice at Spiffy's Restaurant and Bakery on Monday that, quote, criminal penalties apply for non-compliance, unquote. Spiffy's Restaurant and Bakery.
Get baked with Spiffy.
Yeah. That would be Spliffies. Right? Is being threatened with criminal penalties for just being in business.
I'm going to guess misdemeanor charges.
It doesn't state right off the top. Last week, restaurant owner Rod Samuelson said the state told him to shut down, but he has kept the restaurant's dining room open.
Yeah, nice job, Rod.
To keep his staff employed. Samuelson also admitted it was an attempt to protest the governor's order. Nice. Crowds of supporters then made for one of the busiest weeks in the restaurant's near 50-year existence.
Wow, that's amazing.
We'll have more from Rod Samuelson and Spiffy's Restaurant and Bakery on Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts also coming up.
Attention business owners body slammed by overwhelming debt. If your business is in trouble, hassled by creditors, if you're frustrated, finally fed up with big business bailouts while your business has been left for dead, please listen close. There's a brand new fast-track bankruptcy. Some have even called it the biggest small business bailout in American history. Designed for individuals and their businesses. And look, almost no one knows about this yet. My attorney wasn't even aware of it. The truth is, beating the system has never been easy because it's rigged in a sense against the little guy. But here's the jaw-dropping news nobody's talking about. They've literally just changed the system so that you can beat it, but only if you understand how the new game has to be played. Find out if you qualify at pocketsoflight.com. This government-backed small business repair program is still legal, but may not be renewed after the election. Fight back fairly, fight back ethically at pocketsoflight.com.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the program. It is Free Talk Live, the Monday night edition. I'm in the driver's seat tonight, manning the console, and people refer to me as Captain. And joining me in the studio tonight, it's
Ian.
What were we talking about, Ian?
Businesses standing up to the government.
That's right.
Lockdowns.
And we'll talk more about that. We were talking about this gentleman in Chehalis, Washington, who got a notice posted on his restaurant and bakery known as Spiffy's that says...
I consider those to be litter.
Yeah, me too. Criminal penalties apply for non-compliance. We'll
threatening litter.
Yeah, we'll talk more about what happened to Samuelson and his 50-year-old business in just a bit. But first, let's go to your calls and thoughts. We have George calling from Columbus, Ohio. It looks like he's listening to us on Twitch. George, you're on Free Talk Live.
How are you guys this evening?
Hey,
pretty
what's
good.
on your mind?
I was just listening to you guys, and you're talking about masks and business owners. But why not extend that not just to business owners, but everyone?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Everyone who wants to should not be wearing these masks and should not be jumping through all these hoops. Absolutely. I think we've been saying that.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time, with like the individual portion of, rebelling against this crap.
I was just in front of the governor's house and the attorney general's house in New Hampshire yesterday protesting this very issue.
Now, I know that, I don't know how regular a listener you are, George, but I've been spending a bit of time on those businesses rebelling, and so this is just a continuation of that theme.
I'm actually a brand new listener, to be honest with you.
Welcome.
Just came upon you. Yeah, just came upon you tonight. What prompted me to call you folks is because I'm still within the probationary 1 hour follower only mode, I guess, or I'm not even with you for even an hour, I suppose, because it's not letting me. I guess it won't allow me to type a message to you guys.
Oh,
he's on the Twitch.
I know what you're saying. Okay, right. Because on Twitch,
yeah, chat in the channel and stuff, it won't allow me to.
Yeah. The reason for that is because there's a ton of like troublemakers on Twitch, and like kids with nothing better to do, and so we just turn that on to where you can't just create a bot to roll in and just start spamming.
Right.
So hey, we'd rather have you call in anyway, because if you just type in the channel, then we're not as likely to see it. I will look on occasion when I'm hosting the show. I don't know how often you even look at it, Captain, but
it's rare.
Yeah. So you definitely, it's a call-in show, so you definitely get more attention when you actually call in. So thank you.
Right. Absolutely.
Where are you calling from again?
The Buckeye State.
Okay, and so what are things like there?
Well, we're ruled over by an elf who also goes by the name of Governor DeWine.
Okay.
Kind of looks like the Keebler elf, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
I have to look him up. What's his first name?
Mike DeWine.
Mike DeWine.
DeWine.
Yeah.
You've got a lot down.
Our current tyrant in charge.
Yeah. So what's he most recently been tyrannizing people with?
Just an extension. Like he just recently extended our early curfew.
Oh, curfews.
From 10 p.m. because that's when Corona, comes out. Right at 10 o'clock, and until I think it's 5 a.m. I really don't even care enough to even know the exact time in the morning. But
so when you say he extended it, you mean it used to be a shorter window?
Yeah, the window ended. I forget what day, but he extended it to January 2nd or something like that.
Extended the length of. I see. Yep.
Yeah, it is interesting, George, that Corona seems to be a nocturnal beast. It also seems to only attack when you're sitting down, at a restaurant to eat rather than standing up, walking around.
No, I thought it was when you are standing up.
Exactly. And it, for some reason, it has a lot to do with alcohol consumption.
Right.
You can consume regular food at a restaurant per se, but when you're just consuming, alcohol at per se a bar, maybe that's something happens. I don't know. Convid mutates and gets more aggressive. I don't know.
Convid. Nice. Now, I just want to say that I know that beer, because it's made with like barley and hops and yeast and all that, beer has food value, but food has no beer value.
Shameful.
Yeah. So I wonder, if beer should be this sort of exception to that.
All the things should be
exceptions. The double standards of these tyrants,
So is there any kind of meaningful resistance there? I mean, have you seen people, what's the percentage like where, you don't have to tell us what city you're in, but are you in a city or are you a rural kind of area?
I mean, I'm in Columbus.
Okay, Columbus, it's a pretty big city. What do you see when you're downtown? Is it like 90+% compliance, about half and half? What as far as mask compliance?
Well, I don't usually frequent the downtown.
Okay.
I'm in just a local kind of a surrounding suburb,
like the suburbs. So, but when you go to shopping centers or wherever you go, what do you see?
Wow. You said shopping centers, which is almost comical that you even said that. Where's a shopping center at? Tell me.
I have no idea. I've never been to Columbus. Normally in suburbs there are things like that.
No. I'm teasing. There's of course shopping centers, right? But they're all just about graveyards now.
Really? Wow. But what about the grocery store? Like, I mean, you must go out and see people somewhere, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Ever since this whole thing, and that's the only way I can describe it as a thing, started early this year, I haven't worn a mask once.
Good.
You know, and you're allowed to, I shouldn't even say, it sounds terrible to say allowed, you know? I don't wear a mask because I have a health issue. But, it's something to do with my heart and all that. And I'm not going to go into that. You guys don't have that kind of time anyways. But
it's nobody's
any
business.
of us could have a health issue.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because just by, what do we breathe in? Oxygen? Well, what do we breathe out? Carbon dioxide.
Yep.
Last time I checked, carbon dioxide was not good for us, right?
That's right.
That's right. But yet they want us to cover ourselves with this face diaper and not that we're just reconsuming all of our carbon dioxide but it can't be good for us.
No,
right?
I don't think it is. I want my oxygen to be unrestricted, and I don't wear a mask around either. But around here, I swear to you, it's 95% compliance in the so-called live free or die state. Now, to be fair, we're in the most liberal corner of the state over in Keene. So, it's different in your town, right, Captain, when you're at the grocery store there? Isn't it less compliance-y?
It's a bit, yeah.
Comply-y?
It's still pretty high, though.
What would you say, 80%?
Yeah,
70?
I would, yeah.
What about you, caller? What is it like where you are?
George?
I got to tell you what, I feel pretty lonely when I'm walking around any store, whether, it doesn't matter what big box store it is, whether it's Wally World or Kroger or Giant Eagle or, any of them.
So we're talking 90+% compliance then?
Oh, it seems like more than that. I'm lucky if I see another person without.
Do you say something to them? Do you say hi? Do you say, nice to see a smiling face or anything like that?
Well, you want to know what? I try to smile at everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let them know, hey, this is what it looks like, a face. Hey, look at me. I'm
hey,
smiling.
Remember this?
Is what it looks like.
Yeah, George.
I wish.
I call that normal face when I do see somebody that is also not masked. I'll go,
I like free face.
Normal face.
I like free face. But you actually say that, right?
Like you try to make contact. You try to make that connection. Hey, good job. You try to say that. It's there's like a camaraderie, between whoever.
I think it has to happen, and that's something I will actually go out of my way to do it. I saw a guy at Walmart. He was the only other guy in the store, and he wasn't next to me. He was several aisles down, but I made a point of walking over just so I could say, "Nice to see a smiling face." And then he smiled, of course, because that sort of prompts that to happen.
Right.
And he said, "Be a lion, not a sheep."
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because we want to be the change that we want to see, right?
That's right. It's the only way it works.
Absolutely.
Really?
And what do we want? I mean, I ask this all the time to people. I say, what do you want? Do you want peaceful slavery or dangerous freedom?
I'll take the latter.
Yeah.
I'll take the latter.
But
Thank you very much.
I'd like to be left alone.
Thanks for the call tonight, George.
That was a great call.
Yeah, George is an awesome person. I wish that there were more like him.
Yep.
If you are a lion and not a sheep, our toll-free number is 855-450-3733.
We'll take the sheep calls, too.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Stamps.com brings the post office and UPS shipping right to your computer. Go to Stamps.com to start a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with promo code FOX. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the page and type in FOX.
He's out. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The nation's top law enforcement official is leaving the White House.
President Trump tweeting, just had a very nice meeting with Attorney General Bill Barr at the White House. Our relationship has been a very good one. He has done an outstanding job. As per letter, Bill will be leaving just before Christmas to spend the holidays with his family. Deputy Attorney General Jeff Rosen, an outstanding person, will become acting Attorney General. The president has been openly feuding with Barr after he concluded that the Department of Justice has not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the presidential election. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
It's official. California's 55 electoral votes putting President-elect Biden over the top.
Joseph R. Biden of Delaware, a Democrat. Ayes 55. Noes 0.
Confirming the Biden victory in last month's election, Biden's expected to speak later this hour. An excerpt released earlier, he's expected to say there is urgent work in front of all of us, getting the pandemic under control to getting the nation vaccinated against this virus. The first doses of the Pfizer vaccine for COVID-19 are being distributed across the country as the nation surpasses 300,000 deaths. Another COVID-19 relief package on the table is being presented by Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate. One bill would provide $748 billion in aid for small businesses and vaccine distribution.
Basically what it does, it takes care of those who are unemployed. In an emergency, if you're unemployed, that's an emergency and you're running out of your unemployment check. We have 13 weeks or 16 weeks at $300 a week for that. Food assistance. We have nutrition assistance, food assistance.
West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin, the second $160 billion package would include aid for state and local governments and create a temporary liability shield from COVID-related lawsuits. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
Indoor dining in New York City is on hold again.
Restaurants are still permitted to have takeaway, delivery, and can provide outdoor dining. That means customers can be served at street-side tables as well as in temporary structures. An industry group, the New York Hospitality Alliance, issued a statement that read in part, Governor Cuomo's announcement to once again shut down indoor dining in New York City is at odds with the state's own data, adding it will be the last straw for countless more restaurants and jobs. Making the situation worse is the weather. Rain today is keeping diners away, and later this week, heavy snow is in the forecast. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Britain's health secretary says London and its surrounding areas will be placed under the highest level of coronavirus restrictions starting Wednesday.
The call just came in over the police radio. Yeah, right here. It's just me, my producer, Glenn, and a camera. Buckle up. We don't know where in the mall the shots were fired. We don't know what's going on. It looks like a security guard. I'm going to see what he knows. Turns out he wasn't a security guard. He was just a guy in a blue suit. We still have zero information. Where do we go next? I have no idea. My gut says that way. Come on.
I see an ambulance. Confirmed ambulance site.
You'll see the space by the curb where an ambulance was parked just moments ago.
You have any idea where the shooter is?
I was being stonewalled by police, but I couldn't let that stop me. I spoke to a woman who said that she saw a man being escorted through the mall by police. Could this be the shooter? According to the description, he was a male, aged somewhere between 20 and 60. He's either Caucasian or part Latino or something like that. He was wearing some kind of a jacket. And I wrote something else here, but it got smudged. However, that information later turned out to be false. The shooter, if there is one, remains at large. Needless to say, our thoughts are with the victims here today, if there are any, which we don't know yet.
This is the Onion News Network.
It was a big night for music's hottest acts, especially for Lord Chillingsworth. In a shocking upset, the young artist took home the spookiest Halloween sound effect album Grammy for Creepy Night in Halloween Manor. Music blogger Ty Vaughn is here. Ty, what a shocker.
Lord Chillingsworth's track, Man Being Boiled Alive While Chains Rattle in a Dungeon, was crazy spooky. It was everywhere this year. Haunted houses, Halloween stores, nighttime hayrides. Anywhere you look, people were getting the willies from this album.
But a lot of people thought Grammy darling Dr. Spookenstein was a shoo-in to win for his album Laboratory of Madness.
And that was a great album. Critics praised Spookenstein's stripped-down approach, rattling real bones together and dripping real blood onto a screaming lady.
The class act Spookenstein offered a gracious congratulations to Chillingsworth, saying, "I'm a fan of every bloody who was nominated, especially Chillingsworth. I have a skeleton ton of respect for him as an artist. I just saw him on the red carpet and congratulated him."
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Yes, welcome back to the program, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. You can take control of the airwaves, call in, talk about whatever you'd like. You can talk about stuff that we've been talking about, stuff we've talked about in the past. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. It's Free Talk Live for a reason. In the studio tonight, it is myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
And it's Ian.
And I wanted to remind you that you can join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for Fork Fest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Fork Fest happens the week after Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Fork Fest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. It also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for Forkfest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow Forkfesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the Forkfest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021, and we'll see you at forkfest.party.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And, with all the lockdown craze going on and also the mask compliance going on, it'll just be refreshing to get outside and camp with a whole bunch of other people. I know, there's always... I've heard the tales. I was to my first Fork Fest this past year, but I had a great time. I was only there for half a week or something, 4 days. And I had a great time. There was things to do everywhere. The food was great. The people were great. The camaraderie was awesome. You will enjoy yourself if you go.
I hope so. I think you will too.
Yeah. So we were talking about this article from King 5 News about this restaurant in Chehalis, Washington, known as Spiffy's Restaurant and Bakery, who has been threatened with criminal penalties for noncompliance because he remained open in an attempt to protest the governor's order.
Bravo.
And, of course, crowds of supporters then made for one of the busiest weeks in the restaurant's near 50-year existence. The official
That's
notice,
what I like to hear.
Yeah. The official notice from L&I stated, quote, by being open for business, Spiffy's Restaurant presents a threat to the public health and safety of its customers and employees, given the ongoing COVID-19 epidemic in Washington State.
Well, if they're feeling threatened, then they shouldn't go in.
Right.
I mean, look, how many people have ever chosen to not go into like a rough and tumble bar, right? Like you just don't want to take on the Hells Angels today, so you've decided that you're going to go to a not so rough and tumble bar. I mean, you don't want to go into the place that's got smoking in it or whatever, right? Like there's certain reasons why you might choose not to go into a business, and this could be one of those reasons.
Washington employees would be at risk.
Okay, the employees can choose to not work there. This is the same excuse they used when they implemented the smoking ban way back in like 2000. I think it was right after we moved to New Hampshire. They put this smoking ban into place, and they were using the same excuse was, oh, well, the employees are breathing in smoke. It's like, well, what? They couldn't smell it when they walked in the front door the first time they went to get a job application? They didn't know that this place was a smoking establishment?
The risk of this disease is nil. I mean, unless you're over the age of 70.
Even then, the supermajority will survive.
And you have some sort of comorbidity.
Then your chances are less, but still.
But, yeah. It's basically a viral pneumonia is how I've heard it put.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the Christian anarchist.
Who, by the way, apparently came down with this. Did you hear about that?
I heard that, yeah. And I believe he's recovering.
That's what I understood, but I do understand he did go to the hospital as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Washington employees would be at risk that substantial probability that death or serious harm could result by working at a location that the Department of Health has deemed unsafe. Because Spiffy's Bakery in Chehalis, Washington is somehow more unsafe than the grocery store or Walmart or Best Buy or any of the other large corporate mega stores that have remained open.
Yeah, you can go and get your bakery items at the supermarket. No problem. Their bakery's open. You need a custom cake. You need, some croissants. You got it. But you can't go to, what was his name? Spiffy's?
Spiffy's.
Yeah, you can't go to Spiffy's.
His name is Rod Samuelson.
Right.
Is the owner. It goes on to say the state could pursue criminal charges against the 80-year-old Samuelson.
Oh, wow.
Over his defiance.
I hope he continues to defy this thing.
He's 80 years old, and he's like, you know what? I don't care.
That's why. That's what's so powerful is when somebody who's 80 years old gets arrested for something. Please, I hope he goes. Not that I hope he gets arrested, right? I don't want that for someone. But at that point in your life, your kids are moved out. If you had kids, they're grown up. Your grandkids are grown up at this point if you're 80 years old.
Right.
So you don't have the same excuse as a 30 or 40-year-old person who's like, well, I got kids at home. I got to take care of them. The government's going to take them from me. That's one of the, and these are legitimate concerns. So like if you get arrested as a parent, the government gang could use that as an excuse to say, well, now your kids are in foster care because you're a bad parent because you got arrested. But because he's 80 years old, he could just let him get put in handcuffs, spend the night in jail. It's no big deal.
He's like, hey, you know what? I've lived my life already.
Right.
Bring it on.
But is that what's going to happen?
Well, Samuelson said, and there is a video here that I'm not going to play, obviously, because we're doing a radio program, but it's a video of like the people supporting him and coming out, and it's a big crowd and all that kind of thing. So he's gotten some, 15 minutes of fame, if you will, out of this thing. Coverage, obviously, by King 5 News, which is a greater Seattle. Big station there in the Seattle area. But Samuelson said he never imagined his reopening would cause all of this, referring to the hubbub and publicity, and wants to work with state lawmakers to stay open despite the statewide order. We'll see what... I
don't think they're going to work with you, bro.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to work with you either. And I think that when you realize that you should still stay open.
I have a related somewhat similarly sad story. So in front of the governor's house yesterday at the protest, we brought the speaker out, got the microphone.
The loudspeaker?
Yeah, big loudspeaker, the big one. And nobody got up and gave a speech. And the police actually came. Nobody's a co-host for listeners that don't know here on Free Talk Live. He gave a speech, and then toward the end of that speech, or I think right after it ended, the police came up. There was a large number of state police that were there yesterday. Now, Captain, you went to the very first one, if I recall correctly.
I did.
So you know that was a pretty large protest, like upwards of 100 people. This one, maybe like 20 to 25.
Okay.
So about a quarter of the size. And the police had tripled their numbers. So there were like 9 cruisers at least that were nearby or on the property.
Okay, guys, we better gear up because the first protest had like 100 and some people at it. So we're expecting a good 20, maybe 22 people at this next one.
Well, I don't know if they could have expected how many people turned out, but
I understand.
There was some discussion about potentially armed protest, like an open carry protest, for instance.
I remember that being possibly a component of said demonstration.
Yeah.
Were there any open carriers?
Technically, I did a semi-open carry myself, but I was the only one there.
How do you semi-open carry?
I had a jacket that was sort of on open and closed at various different times.
Okay,
so,
right.
But I was the only one there until the very end when somebody showed up with a gun on his hip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody brandishing the ARs?
But there was a related story from that. I was trying to set the scene for one of the speakers, who is a business owner that we've talked about here on the air before. And boy, was he a disappointment.
Nice. Well, let's hear about that in just a little bit. 855-450-3733 is our phone number if you'd like to join the conversation. We'll get back to that and more on Free Talk Live coming up.
Moose is the German Shepherd and hasn't had any kind of health problems at all. He has been on Dinovite since he's a puppy. DINOVITE.com. We tell anybody that has a dog, if there was something that you could do right from the beginning so that you don't have expensive veterinary bills, why would you not do it? Get the Dinovite.
Dinovite for life.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fallen land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com. Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It is Free Talk Live, continuing the third hour. Wow, time sure is fun when you're having flies, said the frog.
Here we are. Ribbit.
Ribbit, indeed. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. So I got frogs on my mind now. Guy walked into a frog with a doctor's office on his head. The doctor's
painful.
office said, "What seems to be the problem?" He said, "It all started with a bump on my ass." We've been talking about all sorts of fun things, but mostly about businesses and individuals who are defying the lockdowns and these not only illegal, immoral, irrational orders to become what I can only refer to as the dystopian version of reality that we all find ourselves in on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I was mentioning that Nobody and I, our co-host Nobody, and I went to a protest yesterday out in front of the governor's house. This was the third one, I think, that I've been to in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And this was also the smallest one, sadly, that I've been to yet. So on the plus side, there were no Trump flags this time. So it was way less Trumpified than the previous ones. There was only like one lady with a Trump hat on, and then I think one other guy showed up.
Somebody turned the Trumplification down?
Yeah, way down.
That's a new word,
I expect that's going to keep going down, too, given that he, presuming he doesn't all of a sudden win the election.
The Trumpansies are behaving?
Yeah, and so that was the only good side about the protest. It was the bad side was we were not quite outnumbered by the police, and that changes how the police behave. When their numbers are closer to your numbers or more than your numbers, they will behave very poorly by comparison to when your numbers are triple or quadruple
let me guess.
theirs.
They become a little more gang-like.
Aggressive, yeah, absolutely, and threatening and dangerous. So as I said, they did threaten Nobody after he spoke, saying that somebody had called in because he was speaking on a loudspeaker.
Right.
And not just a megaphone, like a 300-watt JBL loudspeaker, PA system. And so they told him if he continues to speak, he will be arrested for disorderly conduct.
For speaking?
Because somebody called, they claim. Some neighbor called. And disorderly conduct is a statute that's written in a very vague manner that says essentially if there's some sort of a noise, some sort of unwanted noise that bothers a, quote, reasonable person, unquote, then it's disorderly conduct. So at that point, other people in the crowd also were interested in speaking. And since they had not been warned, they were able to speak without, right? So like somebody would also, so like let's say you were going to speak after Nobody. Yeah. Well, no one called the police on your speech because they called the police on Nobody. So Nobody was warned.
Right.
But then you weren't warned because only Nobody was warned. So you can speak until somebody calls in. Right.
Oh,
so,
weird.
So other people did speak after Nobody. So that was good. unfortunately, one of the people who spoke was a restaurant owner. And we've spoken about this guy on the air. I didn't know what his name was, but he was the guy. Him and his wife own a restaurant somewhere on the eastern side of New Hampshire that was like an ice cream / restaurant place.
Okay.
And they made headlines within the last few months because they closed their business rather than try to jump through all of the various different hoops. And they put a sign up on their door saying, "Whatever happened to live free or die?"
I remember these guys.
Yeah. And so, at the time we were somewhat critical towards them, like, well, it's good that you're speaking out, but you're closing your business down. So, that's not good. Maybe they own the buildings, they don't have to pay rent or whatever. And the idea was they were just going to wait it out and then reopen once it was legal for them to do so. So they were basically being obedient in a different way. They weren't being obedient in that they were trying to jump through all the arbitrary governor's orders hoops as far as mandatory mask wearing and things like that inside their business. They were just like, well, look, if we got to jump through all these hoops to do our business, we're just going to close.
Right.
So, I mean, I have some level of respect for what they did because of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they didn't go to the mat. They're not, continuing to operate like some of these businesses like the New Jersey Gym and things like that. But to make matters worse, the guy got on the microphone on the speaker and he started talking to the police about how he respects the police and how he gives them, he's 100%, he says, supportive of the police, and just on and on about the police are great and this and that, even though it's these very same goons who would come to his business and put him and his wife in handcuffs like they're threatening to in the Seattle area for this other business. And I don't know, at some level, don't you think he knows that? Does he know at some level that if he were to actually continue to do his business without jumping through all the hoops, that the very same cops that he's lauding would come and shut him down?
This is the cognitive Stockholm dissonance syndrome that I refer to. Folks like to call it Stockholm syndrome. Other folks like to call it cognitive dissonance. There is a difference between those two things, but they essentially elicit the same thing, and that is it creates an oxymoron within a person in their standings.
Right.
And so I find frequently with the conservatives, right, the Republicans,
that's
that kind
definitely
of thing,
this guy.
that they're all for more freedom, but they're going to respect the heck out of the boys in blue. Even though the boys in blue, well, they're the armed portion of the folks who have taken your freedom away.
Right.
They're the ones who are going to enforce any of these laws and edicts. They're not generally known for exercising, what's the word I'm looking for?
Discretion?
Discretion, yes, that they have.
Which they do have. And in fact, there was another cop later on when we were at the Attorney General's house protesting who did admit that he has discretion and he will use it in certain circumstances. And that's a different discussion to have.
If it's like his buddy's kid getting in trouble or that kind of stuff.
And
sure.
And that's a different discussion to have. But so after this guy gets up and he speaks, right?
Okay.
Of course, I had not yet been inspired to speak at that point because I just wasn't feeling it,
Did
right?
you suddenly find inspiration?
And I did find some inspiration.
It was hiding behind the couch.
And I took the microphone immediately after him because he was kind of toward the tail end of when people were sort of not interested in speaking anymore. And so I went ahead. And that's when I told the police that I did have a problem with them. So, I made it clear that not everybody was in agreement with that particular viewpoint within the crowd. And you know what? This old guy complained about me later on and complained about nobody to the organizers of this particular event.
That's what bothers me about these protests. I mean, outside of I've got a couple issues with some of these protests, but the fact that folks can't even get along long enough to
have a protest for more than 1 week.
A protest. It's
and the difference is, while I may not care for his viewpoint, I never would have gone to the organizers and said, I don't like it that there's conservatives here. And
right.
they say
we
things
can't
I don't
have
like.
people here that actually like the police, right? I mean, no, you would never do that.
No,
because that's not what freedom's about. Freedom's about tolerating different points of view.
I'm willing to work with somebody if I disagree with them, and these people are not. And it's sad.
Well, hopefully the protests will have some effect. I'm not hopeful.
I don't think so.
But I do appreciate that folks are at least doing something.
Non-compliance has an effect. That has an effect.
That is where it's at. 855-450 free like freedom. We'll get to your calls and your thoughts, plus a whole lot more coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999. And ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. Welcome back to the program, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-3733. We'll get to your calls and thoughts momentarily. If you do partake in the entertainment, the knowledge, the education, the philosophy, all of the things that are presented to you here at Free Talk Live, then we encourage you to go over to amp.freetalklive.com and contribute to our amplifier program. What is an amplifier, you might ask? Well, I could tell you that Paul Barnes is a silver level amplifier, and that means he contributes $5 a month. And that $5 a month goes to helping us get this program that you're listening to right now onto more radio stations. That's all that it goes to, is to helping us get this radio program onto more stations. Right now we're on 180, 190. We could be on 200. We could be on 250 radio stations. It's all up to you. Go visit amp.freetalklive.com and see what little sorts of treats and tokens we have for you as an amplifier, because they are there for you in recognition. And thank you to Paul Barnes for your contribution. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Paul.
He's a good man. As promised, let's go to some of your calls and thoughts. Let's talk to Ralph calling from Bangor, Maine. Ralph, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, did you happen to hear how long it took to discover the cure for the COVID?
The cure?
Yeah. Well, the cure. What they started shooting people up today.
Oh, the vaccine.
Some of the vaccine.
How long?
So you haven't heard?
Well, I know it's been a very short period of time compared to...
Well, it's only been 8 or 9 or 10 months or whatever, right? So probably no longer than that.
No. This married couple, lab technicians, they discovered the cure. It took them 3 hours to come up with it.
Oh, yeah? And what's the cure?
Well, the cure is, or the vaccine.
Okay, but there's been dozens of different vaccines in development all across the planet.
The one that is okayed here, that Pfizer, in conjunction with a sub-company, came up with.
So does that make you feel safe?
Oh, that makes me feel really safe.
Are you being
And then
facetious?
when I go to look at, well, what's the actual ingredients? Because it's basically chemical in nature.
Sure.
And they're proprietary information, so we don't even know what the ingredients are in it.
That's right.
And, did you know what adjuvants are, right?
No.
Like what's in regular, like mercury, aluminum. Do you know why they put that in the vaccines?
I don't.
So the virus, or what they, the active ingredient in the vaccine stays in your body longer. See, without the aluminum and without the mercury in the vaccines, then your body would just get rid of it right away, and you would lose, they say you would lose immunity quickly. So that's why they put that in there. And this new experimental vaccine, look, they don't even have a vaccine for the common cold.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Years and years and years for these people to come up with vaccines, and now all of a sudden they came up with this, and it's for the whole world.
It's very suspicious.
Yeah, and it's genetically changing us. We're going to be genetically engineered.
Well, not me, because I'm not taking it.
Yeah. Do you have any children?
Nope.
Oh,
None.
Well, I got a couple.
What's that have to do with anything?
I guess they're not going to be going to school next year or whenever they decide, because I'm not giving anything like that to my kids.
That's
or
the right
myself,
thing to
anybody.
do. And in fact, why should your kids go to government school anyway? They just want to indoctrinate them with a bunch of lies. So, it's the best thing you could do would be to get your kids out of the government schools.
Yeah. And didn't you find it interesting that they're starting the first round of vaccines? They're hitting our health workers.
That's what they're doing. Yep.
Wow, it's a biological weapon. You know that HIV was engineered into it, right?
Well, I know. I did have an article for show prep that I didn't bring tonight, where the Pfizer vaccine that you speak of has been giving folks false positives on HIV tests.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, and is it kind of coincidental that Fauci and that Colonel Burks, remember that, they're both AIDS experts, and Fauci started with the AIDS thing. He'd been there since Reagan with all them what do you call those people? The
thugs,
criminals.
Yeah, thugs. Yeah, Rumsfeld. All these guys that came in with Reagan.
Same old crew.
Hired an actor, put him in the front, and behind the scenes they ran the whole show.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Indeed. Thanks, Ralph. I know that there has been some controversy around these. I know that myself, I have people that I know that work in the medical industry. Mm-hmm. And thanks to the marvel of social media, I'm able to see some of their thoughts on the matter. I know personally people who can't wait to get the vaccine. They work in the medical industry.
Then they can feel safe about getting a disease that has a 99.98% chance of surviving.
Mind you, these people have been working the entire time. They haven't lost their jobs.
Nope. Haven't died.
And that kind of thing. And they do work in a medical facility.
Yep.
So, and they haven't got the COVID, but they're clamoring. Please give me the vaccine. I don't know what's in it, and I don't care. I saw one comment.
I just want to feel safe.
I saw one comment today that said, as soon as that vaccine is available, I'm taking the stab. I'm shooting that thing right in my arm because I can't wait to go to a bar and have a beer again.
But the bar is closed. So it won't make any difference.
Or go to a show or, that kind of a thing.
But there are no shows.
I know.
So it won't make any difference. And, Captain, remember, there's already been news articles, more than one of them, in major mainstream publications saying, oh, well, when you get the vaccine, you're still going to have to social distance. You're still going to have to wear a mask, which means none of those other things are going to happen again.
Right. And to the caller's point, HIV has been around for how long?
As long as I've been alive.
A couple of decades, at least. And there's still no vaccine for that. Nope. The rate at which vaccines that are effective are developed and distributed is usually a pretty long time.
Yeah.
It seems, I question the speed of this whole thing, and mostly because of the fact that the government has given these vaccine developers special immunity against prosecution.
Well, they've always had that, so that's nothing new, but it still is suspicious and
for
not
this
good.
Specific vaccine, though, right?
No, they have it for all of them, I think, that they put out.
They've issued specific, and not just the U.S. governments around the world. So governments that have never done that before have done it for this particular vaccine from Pfizer, or who's the other, AstraZeneca.
There's a ton of them. There's multiple.
Yeah.
AstraZeneca is a European manufacturer.
So it doesn't make me feel very safe to know that governments are giving, even if they've done it in the past, that they're giving liability protection from lawsuits to these manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So if something does go awry because they've hastily slapped together this concoction that you're going to inject into your veins and put into your body, and something goes wrong, right? There's already reports of people having developed what's called Bell's palsy.
That's right. Yeah.
From this thing. There's all sorts of other people that have had adverse reactions. And in fact, one of the, I believe it's Pfizer, or is it AstraZeneca? One of the manufacturers is suing somebody who partook in the trial because they're bad-mouthing them. Because
they signed a contract?
They signed a contract, and they're saying, oh, no, I had some sort of adverse effect. Wow. And so they're getting sued. So you can't sue them, but they can sure as F sue you.
Oh, my God.
No special protection for you, Ian.
Well, I didn't sign up for that.
I know, I'm just saying. No special protection for the individual, only for the large corporation.
Wow. Why would you do that? Why would you sign that away? They probably didn't read it. Just give me the vaccine. I'll sign anything.
855-450, free is our number. We've got more Free Talk Live for you coming up.
The stress levels of Americans may be at an all-time high. From education to business to basic needs to politics, the 2020 pandemic-related stressors are pushing many of us to near breaking point. That's why you should consider the stress and pain-relieving products from sunny-bay.com, like our lavender neck wraps and pads infused with premium Washington lavender buds. They relieve tension and relax with a soothing scent of lavender. And lifestyle expert Jennifer Bonner recommends products from Sunny Bay.
Sunny Bay's hands-free neck wrap should be your go-to pain relief solution.
Give gifts to family and friends that relieve stress and pain. Give love and care by giving the best. Give pillows, neck wraps, and body wraps from sunny-bay.com, a Biomed DB design company. Just click sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com.
Attention business owners body slammed by overwhelming debt. If your business is in trouble, hassled by creditors, if you're frustrated, finally fed up with big business bailouts while your business has been left for dead, please listen close. There's a brand new fast-track bankruptcy. Some have even called it the biggest small business bailout in American history. Designed for individuals and their businesses. And look, almost no one knows about this yet. My attorney wasn't even aware of it. The truth is, beating the system has never been easy because it's rigged in a sense against the little guy. But here's the jaw-dropping news nobody's talking about. They've literally just changed the system so that you can beat it, but only if you understand how the new game has to be played. Find out if you qualify at pocketsoflight.com. This government-backed small business repair program is still legal, but may not be renewed after the election. Fight back fairly, fight back ethically at pocketsoflight.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's the final segment of the Monday night edition of Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733. If you call, we might be able to squeeze you in. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
And it's Ian.
And we're going to go to the land down under.
Oh, yes.
We're going to have a Vegemite sandwich.
No, we're not.
No? Okay, good, because Vegemite's kind of disgusting.
That's what I've heard. I don't think I've ever tried it, though.
It's kind of like a
salty spread of some sort, right?
It's kind of like peanut butter, but with I don't know, it tastes like it's got sand in it or something.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be savory or something.
It kind of is. It's almost like a pie filling. like a meat pie kind of a thing, but it's just got a very earthy. I find it disgusting. Yeah, I tried it and I'm like, ugh. Yeah. So anyway, enough of my horrible Australian references. What is your Australian reference here, Ian?
Yeah. Well, apparently they're going to the next level of total control in South Australia. Now, remember, this is the same place where they told people a few weeks ago that during the lockdown they weren't allowed to walk their dog.
Right.
They weren't allowed to go for a run or a jog around the neighborhood. No.
Wait,
no
didn't they
leaving
also
their
have to
house.
text before they left their house?
If they were going to go.
They're going to go somewhere?
To somewhere where they were supposedly legally allowed to go, which is limited.
And didn't one guy text to, like, I'm going to beat some guys,
I don't know.
whatever?
I'm not sure.
I thought some guy was like, they were like, why are you leaving? He's like, I'm going to go beat this guy's ass.
I don't know. That sounds like something somebody really stupid might do. But in this case, what they're now mandating as of today, so as of Monday, December 14th, all retail stores, including supermarkets, department stores, hardware stores, and general retail stores, are now required to keep a record of people who enter their store, including staff and customers. So what they're using is apparently an app that the South Australian government has created called the MySA.gov app. And so if you look it up on Google or Apple app stores, it is actually an app published. So you know how like under the app it says what software company makes it? It actually says it's the government of South Australia who has, is responsible for this app. And according to the press release by the National Retail Association in Australia letting their members know about this, they say that all people entering the place So from today, all general retail industry premises in South Australia must have a completed COVID-safe plan and a QR code that customers will use to check in as they enter. All people entering the place must upload their relevant contact details to the approved contact tracing system. This upload is automatic when you use the COVID-safe check-in to scan the QR code. So
papers, please! Papers, please!
Yeah, this
You must show your papers!
Yeah, to go shopping. You must show your papers in South Australia to go shopping. You have to use a government app to let the government know where you're going shopping every time you go in.
Are there any protests in Australia? Are there any defiers in Australia?
I don't know.
Is there anybody standing up to this
That's
in any
a
way,
good
shape,
question.
or form?
We may be too far away to find that out, but the general retail industry premises is a place where retail sale or hire of goods or services for personnel, household, or business use occurs and where customers are physically present. So this sounds like every single retail establishment in South Australia. Each business, again, needs to have a COVID-safe plan. They will then receive a QR code via email. Businesses that have already completed a voluntary COVID-safe plan do not need to complete another plan. So apparently they started this out voluntarily. So they rolled this out and said, okay, well, here's this new program. We've got this app. We've got a COVID-safe plan. So, all right, businesses, it's a volunteer thing. If you want to show everybody how safe you are, then sign up for this. And now they're just making it mandatory. So the voluntary aspect was the testing phase for this, and now it's mandatory. All businesses have to get one of these codes, and they say that the scanning of the QR code is a check-in feature at the stage. You do not need to have your customers check out via this system. So they're just blocking everybody at the point where they enter the retail establishment. Now, my question, of course, is what happens? You're talking about people resisting, people refusing to go along with this. What happens if you walk into the business, sort of like when we go into a Walmart or something, and they might say something to you like, excuse me, sir, you have a mask, sir. And then you can usually just, ignore them and walk in, or do what I say, which is to say no thank you and walk in. What happens if you just walk by this little scanny thing? Because it's saying here that they should have the QR. They've got like recommendations for the retailer here, right? Because this is the National Retail Association. It says display QR codes at each entrance, print your QR code bigger, A3 if possible. I guess that's the paper size, to get your customers' attention. So they want you to let the customers, if you're a retailer, to make sure the customers see this. But what if the customer's just like, F that, and just walks by?
Right.
Then what?
Yeah. What happens?
Should the retailer then call the police on their own customer? Because all of these COVID crackdowns put retailers in a really awkward place
right? Like as a retailer, your job is to serve your customers.
Sell them something.
Yeah.
Product or a service.
You can't sell them something if you kick them out of the store. So the retailer obviously wants you to be there, whether you have a mask on or not. However, the retailers are also afraid of what the government gang might do to them if they are caught violating some of these rules. So the question is, are the retailers going to suffer some sort of penalty if an unmasked person goes inside, or somebody without? Again, this doesn't even have anything to do with masks.
Right.
This has to do with just whether or not somebody checks in on this app. So what happens to the retailer if somebody walks by and doesn't check in?
Okay, so this is disturbing. Normally, not only is it disturbing that they have the digital equivalent of papers, please.
Yep.
But I just did a quick Google search, and I narrowed my results to the last week for Australia lockdown protests.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm being served up results that say things like 3 days ago, 2 days ago, 16 hours ago. But everything that I've clicked on is from months ago.
Weird.
Like, I just clicked on this one that was 16 hours ago. Coronavirus updates, Melbourne Tower block lockdown like being in prison. It was from July 7th.
I don't know. That is bizarre.
I've got the protest in Melbourne. Hang on, let's open this one.
There's one from September. Coronavirus arrests at Australia
Right, but
anti-lockdown
it's
protest.
December.
Okay.
Right. So, like, I was, and that's my question is, you would think something would have happened in the last week.
Here is AdelaideNow.com.au, coronavirus, South Australia, lockdown protesters. Oh, no. This is a paywall. I can't get into that story. But the headline is lockdown protesters rally in CBD, which I presume is some area of Adelaide. So this was supposedly published within the last week. I just can't read it.
So I've got the protest in Melbourne CBD on the 5th of September from 2 days ago. Like, why would I don't understand.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. So my point here is that where are the Australian protests? Are they being suppressed?
I don't know. Where are the
somehow?
New Hampshire ones? There aren't that many here either.
Okay, that's
I mean,
true.
they were, and I think rightfully so, in the chat room calling us out because there's massive protests in other places, including Idaho. And I would not call what has happened in New Hampshire massive. I would, as of April. There were a few in April that we went to that were pretty big.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that level since then.
Well, like, we've been talking sort of in between the show about protests and, my opinion on their effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
They're great for networking, but in my opinion, protests should get like-minded people together against some sort of a cause to have an outcome, right? And that outcome should be, clearly stated, right? Like,
well, they've stated it here.
Lift the order, right?
Yeah, they want
right.
the order to all the orders to be lifted.
And so what I've found is that, that outcome doesn't really occur at really any protest. And I lived in Seattle for 22 years. I saw the WTO riots. I saw the Occupy Wall Street protests, right? Those were some interesting times to live in that city. But ultimately, the things that the protesters wanted to get done did not occur. And so I think it has to lead to action. Right. I think the protests have to lead to action. It's one thing to go, protest somewhere, governor's house or the mayor's house or whatever, that kind of a thing. It's one thing to go and protest and make noise and make news. It's a whole other thing to do something that gets the outcome to occur. And I don't know what that is. That's my quandary here for you, the listener.
At this point, they're just ramping up the number of cops at these protests.
Yeah. And that's only going to result in violence. We're out of time for tonight. Thanks for listening, everybody. freetalklive.com for the archives. Thanks. Peace.
Pounds and pounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have two cats, Dixie and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you'll want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful catalytic